Welcome to episode 3, Benjamin.
Thank you very much, Lan. I'm happy to be here.
What are we talking about today?
Firstly, a shout out to the CPA Australia for hosting our podcast for today.
Yep, beautiful view.
Yeah, nice view in the Melbourne CBD. What are we talking about today? I think the audience has actually asked for a little bit more about your background. Who is Lan?
Well, we have to go into your background as well.
I'm looking
There's a
forward to it.
there's a wider audience out there, um, interstate, international, that want to know you as well. Um, so I think we already introduced a bit about ourselves. We're both accountants. Um, yeah, I've just been in accounting my whole life, and now a
Yeah.
podcaster.
Before that, what did
What
you
is
do at
this?
uni?
Accounting degree. Yeah, I was raised in a country town as well in Vietnam, but
Um, no, like I was born in a very low socioeconomic part of country Victoria. Known for wearing moccasins around town. Like people don't even put shoes on when they go out; they just wear their slippers.
mm,
That's what the town is known for. I don't know why. I don't know how that started or why that's such a big thing, but it's very well known. So Moe, Victoria. So it's my graduation night tonight.
yeah, congratulations, Master of Tax.
So that was my experience with Melbourne Uni. I
Mm-hmm.
went to RMIT for my undergrad.
Mm,
I did commerce and then got my CPA
mm-hmm.
and worked at the tax office now for about 16 years. And tonight is my graduation from the Melbourne Law School.
Very massive achievement. You must be so proud.
Yeah, it's a good achievement. It is. Yeah. It's weird when it's you, you're sort of not as proud as yourself or whatever. But
And it's
it,
been a while. When did you finish it?
last exams were November
Yeah.
last year.
Oh, yeah, that's a
No,
long
actually, that's
time.
not true. No, February. Yeah, February.
February. Oh, that's not too bad.
So, yeah, it does take a while to get through to the
Mm,
graduation. But
mm,
yeah, I found high school really tough.
yep,
I was pretty poor at English.
yep.
I think I'm mildly dyslexic. I get a lot of the words, the letters mixed up in basic words. Never been diagnosed, but it's always been challenging. And yeah, I was in like remedial English in year eight. They took me aside with like just a very small group of kids and taught us topic sentences and how to structure a sentence and how to make a paragraph and like just basic writing. And I couldn't do any of it, but it was really helpful
Mm,
actually.
mm,
It set me up, I think, for later in life. But
yep.
um, yeah, my education journey went a bit sideways in high school, and then I got back into it later. And yeah, so I guess the message there for parents is like you don't necessarily have to put too much pressure on them around year 11 and 12. I actually dropped out of year 12, struggled quite a lot. Um, yeah, just with life in general. And then yeah, at 24 went back to uni, and
Yeah, but all of those struggles is what makes you who you are today. So, and a coach as well.
yeah, well, I think I've learned a lot from the challenges I've had in life. You think you learn more from the challenges
Yeah, you
than
have
the
to go
easy
through it. Yeah.
things. Like I found getting the CPA was pretty easy,
Yep.
because mathematics is kind of natural to me,
Mm.
but tax law was really hard, like really hard. It's all English, it's all comprehension and writing, and
It's funny that you got into tax. You found that
yeah,
module.
yeah, not sure what happened there. There's a story behind that too. I think I applied for Babcock and Brown, and they didn't accept me. I was an investment bank. I wanted to be an investment banker.
Oh,
This
right.
was around
Okay. Yeah,
2007.
it's really tough in investment
Yeah,
banking.
in 2008 they closed and they
Yeah,
ceased to
luckily.
exist.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't get through interview, and I got interviewed for the ATO, and they were paying more than I think Dun and Bradstreet also interviewed me, but they were
Mm.
paying like 30 grand, and ATO was paying 50.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no brainer, I'm going to tax.
Yeah.
15 years later, I was just like, go for a couple of years, and I'll go Big Four or something, do my accounting.
Yeah.
I've
You
never
loved it
really.
too much there.
It's been good.
Yeah.
It's varied.
So do
It's
you want to tell us a few things that you learnt at the ATO?
not really.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's pretty boring.
Any good life
Okay.
lessons? I don't know.
Ah,
You do a
nah.
lot of work and teams and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Like the most interesting stuff is probably the team building work and um, you know, working with large teams and trying to work on team building, team dynamics, building high functioning teams. A lot of work around trust, building trust within the team members, um, and then also being open to conflict. So because you have that trust, you can, have ideological conflict and really try and bring out the best ideas, seek truth rather than just sort of start fights. And that can lead to better commitment because people have been heard and people feel acknowledged that their ideas are part of what makes up your team. From there, you can hold each other accountable because people have committed and there's a known purpose. So it helps, peer to peer accountability. And if there is peer to peer accountability, then people kind of have more attention to the results. They really look towards what the true outcomes are rather than perhaps their own ego or their own agenda, their own budget, their own department. Because sometimes those type of goals can be um, in conflict, whereas the organizational goals are everyone's goals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the most interesting
People
part.
lose sight of the organizational goals because they have their own ego and their own, I guess, self interest.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. What about yourself? You've been in insurance for a while, but you're also in property development and property
Mm.
asset management. What can you
Mm.
tell us about your
Mm.
career journey?
My career journey, I guess that I've done a lot outside of my career
Mm-hmm.
in terms of professional work. Um, into the property development space. Just acquired properties when I was younger, but just to hold and, one day sell them. So it was more a long term sort of investment, just buying, holding, selling eventually, and then building up wealth that way. But then it must have been 2018 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
Started looking at the potential for adding value to property. So looked at property development. So did so now I've done a few developments which have been good, and trying to broaden that a bit more, not just purely property development, but moving probably into the commercial space, which would be a bit more interesting, I think. Yeah. So,
Tell me about one of your developments. Give me an example of something that you've bought, added value, and sold.
so I'd say so. I had a place in Reservoir. Um, it was on a 550 square meter block.
Mm-hmm.
Had a house at the front, or had a house on it basically, a three-bedroom house. And on a 550 block, there's not much you can do because the land size, the house pretty much takes up the land.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really do more to that. So when I looked at it, I was like, how can I add value to this house? And the house had an extension at the back, so it's a three-bedroom, but the extension made it a sorry, it's the extension was an extra bedroom. So three bedrooms all up, including the extension.
Okay.
So it was either knocking down the whole house and then building maybe two houses or one big house. But because I didn't want to spend too much capital on it, I knocked down the extension and kept the front house. Just did a minor renovation at the front,
Mm-hmm.
and then a had a bit of land at the back to build enough to build one townhouse at the back. So did that, then sold off the front house and now holding on to the back house. Double story house, three bedrooms, new house, so you can rent it out for a higher return.
Financial intimacy is a big part of relationships and
Mm.
being open about your finances and having good clarity, good communication
Yep.
around that particular area
Mm.
is really important. So it's one of the six pillars. And
And just to add there, with in marriages, so the first reason why people separate is because of infidelity, and the second reason people separate is because of finances. What is your relationship with money?
it's a good question. I've always been pretty tight, pretty much a saver and all of that.
Yeah.
But I think, as my marriage dissolved, I became more like I had more of an abundance mindset, I think. I think
But
I saw
no,
opportunity
I
to
think I think when you separate, it's more time for yourself. So you do spoil yourself a whole lot more. Whereas when you're, I guess, in a partnership, you're always thinking about, like, say, the other person. But
yeah, it's harder to make decisions. Every decision needs to be like a group decision, right? You respect the other person.
it is, but then you feel bad about spending money. But then when you're by yourself, you just like, I'll just spend it, and you you don't feel as bad.
I think my mindset, probably even before the separation, changed to be like, I really want to enjoy life. I think with some of my meditation and as you know, I
But
started going into the monastery in February this year and got a bit more um
was it the monastery that made you change your mindset over money, though? What was it that? What was that point that made you think?
there was a moment where I let go. I was very determined to build a lot of wealth. Like just wanted to build wealth. I wanted to have like, kind of like your mindset. Like I
But
wanted
you
to have wealth and I was
still,
willing to sacrifice no matter
yeah,
what.
but you still want to build wealth.
I
So
do,
how are you going to do it now?
I do, but I also want to be able to enjoy the now.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, wealth in the past was all about take the biggest mortgage you can, get the biggest house you can, let capital appreciation look after you, and then you get the primary residence
Yeah.
exemption when you sell.
So
So
it's
it's all tax free,
interesting when
right?
you say wealth, there's you're thinking financial wealth, but there's so many different forms of wealth. So what
Okay, tell me what are other forms
Mm.
of wealth? That's
being
good.
happy with your life is
Yeah,
being
true.
wealthy. Having good relationships is being wealthy. So I think now your focus on is on other forms of wealth, not just
Spiritual wealth, maybe.
spiritual wealth as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think I let go of that wealth, even just from a pure money sense, as a capital reserve. And I came to believe that wealth is more a state of abundance at any time, a cash flow thing, right? It's do you have more than enough cash flow to satisfy the lifestyle you want to live right now? So you need capital assets, right, to provide that cash flow, like shares or property or other things, as well as a good income, as well as maybe a secondary income. So to me, it's cash flow and lifestyle is a true feeling of wealth from a
Yeah.
financial perspective.
Yeah.
But also, I've focused much more on going deep internally and my spiritual growth.
Yeah.
So, like meditating every day, trying to connect with my higher self and be more aligned to my true purpose,
Mm.
which is where, through your encouragement and my own realization, I've gone more in towards executive coaching and helping others, something that I've done as a part of my role for many years, but I'm now really more heavily focused on it. And it was a conversation with my boss as well. So my boss said to me, he goes, "You don't need any more qualifications. You've got all the tax qualifications you need.
Mm-mm.
What you need to do is sort of find your purpose, find your thing. What are you going to do to help shift the organization?" So it sort of started with the ATO thing, which was
Mm.
brilliant advice. Like shout out to
Mm.
Scott Walker, my boss. He was amazing. And that just made me think more broadly. What is it that I really want to do and want to contribute?
So if someone doesn't know what their purpose is and is searching, 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 what's the best way to find your purpose?
I'm researching that now, love. Maybe that's next week.
Next week? Okay. Can come
No, it's
back
a great
and
question. That's a great question. What can I say about that now? I would say if you haven't found
yeah,
your purpose should be,
to find your purpose.
and
A lot of people spend a whole lifetime looking for their purpose.
yeah,
And I think it comes from within.
definitely comes from within.
And you need to find what brings you joy. I think set aside the money aspect.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in it, don't think about money and think about the amount of joy that you can bring. Because if you're aligned to your true purpose, the money will follow.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And I think about it if the universe leaves you a lot of clues.
Yes.
So the things that make you feel happy
Yep.
is definitely one of them. Things that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
I think is also good. And sometimes it might not be the thing that makes you money, but you might be good at it on the side. You might do it
Mm.
as well as your
Mm.
main career.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but finding your purpose, um, it's often like it's not a aha moment in a single day or
Mm.
a single minute. I mean, it can be, but it's more like internal reflection over time.
Mm-mm.
And it was even in talking to you to really solidify that I wanted to be, executive coach, was looking back, to times when I'd written and delivered mentoring programs by studying some of the great materials, like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I studied it, broke it down into 10 sessions, then recruited senior executives across the ATO to deliver it out to sites, multiple sites, hundreds of people, participants, all just soaking in this great knowledge.
Mm,
Not my knowledge, the
mm,
knowledge of some amazing writer from
mm.
50 years ago. And I really got joy out of that.
Yes. I guess what I was gonna say is find something that you're good at, and you know what you're good at. You're good at communicating. You're good at delivering messages. So you were made to be in front of lots and lots of people. So that's how you got into executive coaching, or got into your,
So far. And look, I'm just
speaking.
launching now. I'm sort of taking it from where it was. I'm trying to start a coaching network to learn more and grow in that area. I'm doing an online business breakthrough course that is, teaching me some of the skills of how to be a good coach, active listening, follow up questioning. So, so my question to you is: have you found your purpose, and what are you driven by at the moment?
I think I found my purpose, definitely. It's been a while actually that I've known my purpose, which I really feel fortunate about because not everyone can or know, not everyone knows what their purpose is in life.
Mm,
Um, so my purpose is I'm really into the development space, the property development space,
mm,
and you know, like just creating and building beautiful homes.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so I found a lot of joy out of that, and I want to continue growing that and making it bigger, and that's definitely my purpose
So how do you know it's your purpose, or what's your why behind that? Why are you doing that?
because I feel like this is my calling. You want to
Yeah,
dig deeper?
yeah, I'm a dig. So what? So James, your calling. What does that mean? Where does that come from?
It
How do you
just
know
it,
that?
it brings me joy. It brings me a lot of joy. Um, I don't like it doesn't when I'm doing it, it doesn't, you know, frazzle me. I want to learn about it. I want to know about it. I want to know the process. I like to get in deep with the process. I like to do it. Um,
Time disappears. You commit time to it without any thinking
yeah,
about it.
yeah. It doesn't even feel like it's that much effort to do it, actually. Um, so yeah, it's also good in terms of cash flow
Mhm.
eventually when you finish, but not while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So there's rewards there at the end as well.
rewards, yeah. Yeah.
Mm, mm. And what drives your sense of reward? Like, what's the ultimate goal?
I just it was mainly for me to know that I could do it. And the money was good. And growing up, I have didn't grow up in a wealthy family, like a financially wealthy family.
Mhm.
We didn't have very much, so just being able to build the wealth to provide for friends and family,
Mm,
and go traveling and be financially free as well.
mm, mm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice. And even deeper, like for the next generation.
For the next generation, creating generational wealth. I mean, it's very hard to get into the property market these days. So to be able to, leave property for kids, it'll help them out a lot, I think.
Yeah, it's quite inspiring when you talk about, yeah,
Yeah.
property for each child. It's yeah, it's a lovely goal. And
Yeah.
given that I think the median house prices in Melbourne are touching $1 million these days,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
It's better to get in earlier than later.
yeah, it's going to be tough for the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm genuinely concerned about how they're going to really live and have a great housing
Yeah.
life. Like, what is their housing going to look like in 25 years from now?
Very small, I think, because land is scarce. So
Mm,
people will be building higher and higher,
mm,
apartment style.
mm,
So it'll be very normal to be in one of these apartments.
mm. Yeah, the shift is happening already, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the CBD growing a lot.
Yep.
There's supermarkets and childcare centres in the CBD now.
Mm.
There certainly wasn't 20 years ago.
Yeah. A lot of opportunities actually, now that you're talking about like, different developments. Yeah. I mean, the developments I've done are just houses, but you're talking apartments and stuff. So that's quite interesting.
Mm. It seems like we need to definitely go higher density at some point, don't we,
Yeah, definitely.
to allow
Mm,
for population growth.
yeah.
So that's a financial intimacy, right? That's a financial intimacy pillar. Um, Emotional intimacy is the main game, right? It's the one that drives all the others. We've
Yes.
recently focused a little bit on emotional,
Through our chats or
yeah, through our
yeah,
conversations, I suppose, and we've tried to read the chapter and
yeah.
kind of learn, but we haven't really spoken much about it. Tell me what's your take on emotional intimacy? What does that
Uh,
mean to you?
it's all about communicating, making sure you have an and open line of communication with your partner, making sure when things come up, you're um open to sharing them and you feel safe to share them. How about you?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. For me, just being able to share with you how I genuinely feel and for
Mm,
you to like accept it and understand, take a
mm,
back seat and listen, that's amazing. And obviously, like for me to try and do the same thing,
mm.
give you your space. Uh, we had our first argument, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We had our first argument the other day.
And I guess from that argument, I was able to see how you fight.
Hmm. So what did we take out of it?
I know how to deal with you when you're a bit upset. Give you a bit of space. Let you breathe, meditate, think of it, think on it, reflect, because you can go on such a rant. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we had a bit of argument over. I think it was like I don't know. We don't need to really get into it, do we?
No,
But I was pretty upset at the time, and I don't think I didn't yell or raise my voice or anything like that, did I?
I think you went not yell, but you kind of went over the top, like as in
Yep,
the exaggeration.
I accept that.
Yep.
Definitely accept that. And then when I have time to kind of process it all and understand and think a bit more laterally and think with space, I was able to sort of, say, you know what you're asking for is not that big a deal. Like I could do that and still, at the end of the day, it was like, I care more about you than
Mm,
the thing that we were arguing about.
mm,
So if that all went away, even though it was something I was deeply kind of passionate about,
mm,
even if that all went away, it wouldn't bother me as
mm,
much as me seeing you upset.
mm.
But it takes time for me to get back to that place, right? It
I
takes me a
think,
moment to
yeah.
get centered and think about what's really important.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, I realized that, it was far more important to have you in my life than it was to grow an online business or, yeah,
mm,
it wouldn't have been worth it if I could do it all and you weren't there.
mm. Yeah.
What was your experience? And I felt like we got to a really good resolution within the day. We kept the communication open. We spoke multiple
Yeah,
times.
yeah. Well, communicating is very important, but it's also important to give the person space as well. So
Mm.
then they can gather their thoughts and, you know, try to rationalize it. Because when you're communicating too much, I just think maybe it can get a bit heated.
Yeah, when you're in the emotion of it,
Exactly.
then your rational thought doesn't perhaps
Yeah.
get an opportunity to sort of shine through.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I felt stronger. I felt like our relationship like grew
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't sound convinced.
Oh, no, no. You're right. Hit the subscribe button for more content.
No, well,
Mm,
thanks for coming today, Lan. That's been good chat. I'm really grateful that you've come back for episode 3. I know it's like not the most comfortable thing for you to do, but I feel like, you've got so much value to add. And I was really interested in everything you said about your developments and your backstory. We'll talk more about the 6 pillars in future episodes. We'll talk more about relationships in general. We'll even get into some of our spirituality, our meditation. We did Lionsgate last night, which was amazing.
mm.
So
Yeah.
tell me about that.
Anyone who doesn't know, Lionsgate 8, the 8th, 2024, which adds up to 8. So 888, which is very, what is it?
Auspicious.
Auspicious. Oh my gosh.
No, it's so good. So we did this manifestation and it was brilliant. And yeah, we'll get more into some of our spirituality side. I work on personal productivity as well. And, Lan's going to talk a little bit about that and how we manage our work and our careers, life. So yeah, it's going to be pretty broad. We're going to use 6 pillars as a framework, but we're just going to be who we are and we'll see where it goes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks very much for everyone who is watching out there. We appreciate every one of you. We're feeling a lot of love.
And we love you back.
See you next week.